And say thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And welcome to their Wednesday night office hour session. As always, I'm your host, Donato Callahan. They also call me God Emperor King. That's also my chosen name. And I'm open to more. And tonight we'll be opening up the floor as usual for questions, comments, concerns about Brett. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Um, Appreciate that. And we'll be opening up the floor for questions about BrightInvestor market research or things that are coming out. Um, let's see here. As usual, I will start with my general announcements. For those who are familiar with Coffee Closers, the competitor of ours who shut down, the webinar we're hosting with them is tomorrow night. I'll make sure that you guys get the invitation of that if you've not already gotten so, but we sent out some emails already. But that is tomorrow night at approximately 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that is going to be a webinar simply introducing BrightInvestor to those who are in need of a similar product that now that the company is shut down. So if you want to be there for that, feel free. Other announcements that I'll go ahead and make for BrightInvestor itself. Let's see here what we got. The new rent reports are looking beautiful. Everything is on track for a new release in the next 48 hours, which I'm very excited about. It's been way too long. Both our reports looking great. We have finally finalized our Berg calculator and our fix and flip hard money calculator after months and months of testing to make sure we do it right the first time. And they're finally getting worked on right now. I did ask those who were here last time to send me a message with what CRMs you guys are using for our upcoming CRM integrations. I have Go High Level, Lead Simply, Aptly, HubSpot, RE Simply, Follow Up Boss, Monday, KV Core, Real Geeks, Boomtown, Real Agent, and Zoho. If you have a CRM that I did not name that you want to see working alongside BrightInvestor, please send me a message either personally in the chat or via email. Besides that, I have nothing else I want to share besides the fact that you should expect another version upgrade in the next couple days. And looking forward to sharing all of that. Let's see here. Chester Williams, is there a new link to join the weekly calls? No, no new link. I'll make sure that maybe the wrong one didn't get sent out. But it should have been the same link, but I'll check that out. Thank you, Chester, for the heads up there. Let me go ahead and see here. Then I believe that goes ahead and finishes up my announcements today. And we'll go ahead and open the floor up for questions, comments, concerns, whatever I can help, and any questions about BrightInvestor, deal analysis, or market research that I can help with.
Ich habe eine Frage. Ich habe eine Frage, bitte.
I have no idea what that means. Is it French?
I just asked you
French
in Deutsch and German. I says, I have a question, please.
Oh yeah, what's up?
Can you share your screen and put this address in and see if what I'm having an issue with, you're gonna have an issue with? Because it boils my brain.
Yeah, let me see what you got.
You want me I was gonna have you bring your screen
what's
up,
your
I'll give you the address.
what's the address?
14268
Right.
State Highway 160. You see right there, the top one, ride, and then look what comes up when you open the property details. See my issue?
That's Virginia. Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, I'm like, hello. I did.
Yeah, I
even went and used a little thing and cleared the
1468 North State Route 20. So it has it's getting lost there on the.
Yeah, West Virginia is nowhere near California. I don't know if you knew that or not. So
I appreciate that stunning piece of information. You are. Thank you. You're. I will send that to the team right now. I don't. That's
that's
weird.
A firm grip. Just in case I had a firm grip on the obvious. I'm like, I don't think that's close.
No, I appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see why that's doing that because it's getting everything.
Yeah, and it shows it's
weird.
Good thing he's in the show me state, huh?
That's true. Absolutely. Okay.
Yeah, baby.
Go ahead and...
So I had to show you.
I appreciate that. All right. I will send that to the team right now.
That's all I got, man. I was trying to pull something up for somebody.
Well, that's great. Let me see if we can get that patched before are released tomorrow or the next day. That would be great. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's see here. That's great. If you guys ever find tiny stuff like that, that's great. It's great for me to know. Great stuff for me to know.
One
Um,
interesting thing about that too, there's a bunch of different, um, and again, it seems to be seeing similarly here on the East Coast, and then as well in Michigan where I'm investing. There are some roads where it'll simply say state route, whatever, versus like the
mhm,
actual road or highway name. So that might be something that potentially don't know whether it's much a bigger thing, but uh, the one interesting thing though too, in looking at that, it clearly said California 160. So
mhm,
I don't know if it's simply getting caught up on the state route 160 and kind of blending
mhm,
everything together. So
mhm.
that could be potentially.
Yeah, we'll get that investigated ASAP. Take a look at that. That's an interesting one. It's always those weird properties. It's always those weird like properties out in the middle of nowhere that are like they give me that. It infuriates me to no
Hey,
end.
can I throw another one at you? Because it has the kind of the same thing, but it's in Oregon. It's a
Yeah,
property.
yeah, yeah, for sure. What do
So
you got?
let's just see if it's it like he's like Chester's saying, it might be something with that. It's
Perfect. What do you got?
28564 Highway 34, and that's in Corvallis, Oregon. That's the one right there.
Okay, so I see Oregon 34 for
Yeah,
Vallis. Okay, so it finds it, and it is 28564. Okay,
that's one I just did a loan on, and
and
that opens up. I think I already
28564. Oh
looked at that
yeah,
one.
okay.
See,
That
it did it again.
it
Yeah.
it may be the highway thing. That's interesting. Okay, see
So,
that is very
because
useful.
Chester said that, I was like, hey, I do have another one that's similar that might get hung up on that. So, Chester, it sounds like you got it, man.
That might be that's very useful. Anytime we can repeat, we can look for like a pattern, it's better. So like being able to see, hey, these are both like highway roads and something's going on there. That's very useful because if there's a repeated issue, it means there's a fundamental problem that we can fix. If it's like a one-off, it's like, well, what the heck's going on? So that's actually very, very
So it
useful.
might be
Thank you for
like
that.
Chester said. So, Chester, your observation has very astute there, my brother.
He's a
Well,
smart guy.
no, man, it's all on you in terms of kind of pointing that out. It did remind me though when I saw it, because especially like here in Maryland and then as well in Virginia, we've got a ton of those state route roads. So when you had mentioned that, I was like, oh my God, you're right. I've seen that here too. So yeah, definitely good call on that.
Yeah. So if you have something
Absolutely.
like two, then that seems like something that's probably easily fixed, and it's giving them a little more direction than it just being a one-off. Like
Oh, so yeah,
Corrado
it's way
said,
better.
yeah.
Direction is great. We need direction for any of those small things like that for the weird little properties.
Cool.
Um, absolutely. Let me see here. Also, I do want to take a little time. It was recommended to me that we take some time on these calls and allow folks to introduce themselves and communicate a little bit between the folks who are showing up here consistently. So, if this is an opportunity to talk about what you're doing, kind of what you're looking for, what you need, you can provide. So, I want to go ahead and just try that today, just for a few minutes here, and kind of let people post in the chat a little bit about ideally, let's say their name, where they live, where they're investing, what their strategy is, and a little bit about what they're looking for. So we'll say
I
name,
thought we were just gonna have the doctor start with us, since he's
the
being a
doctor.
doc.
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
go for it, Rich.
Okay. Hey guys, my name is Rich Mioli. I've been doing fix and flips here in Long Island for about the past 9 years. Uh, I ventured out. I was always afraid to invest out of state. A friend of mine was in Bluffton, South Carolina, flipping properties, and she told me about one, so I bought it with a self-directed IRA, and then it was new construction like 2 blocks over, so I bought one of those. And then I was visiting friends in Florida, and they finally bought a property. I known them for 30 something years, and it was a townhouse community. We went there, we looked at it the next day. I bought one, and I've been renting that. And then that led me into Fort Myers, where I just bought one. It was vacant for 9 months because I don't know why. And then we just finally leased it up. So now I'm looking to, work with Donato and you guys and looking for some multifamily, small multifamilies.
Absolutely. Also,
He
I want
wanted
to
you
give
to
a quick.
hit, he had in the, I was gonna say you had in the chat, your name, which we can see, where you live, where you invest, your strategy and what you need and looking for. I think he kind of hit most of that, didn't he? Because we got the
Yeah,
name.
I think
Nailed it.
so. And here's my name and
Absolutely.
phone number there. So
Absolutely. We do want to give a quick shout out to another one of our Diamond members, Jason. Jason, I'm going to brag about you for a second. Got his closing docs today for his new fourplex, where his rents are going to go from $1,000 a month to 1,800 over the
whoa.
next year or so. Jason, he's going to cash flow a pretty penny on that deal, and we've been working on that one for a while. A minute. We have Jason. What's that? What have we done? We've scheduled the electricians, scheduled the plumbers, scheduled. How many times have we had a three-way call with your realtor, then the attorney, and the
Yes.
back and forth? Then we had to negotiate the terms and the direct. It's a lot of stuff back and forth here.
Yes.
But
A lot.
been a lot back and forth.
Oh, there
But
you
closing
go.
docs are
Jason, I thought
incoming.
you were in witness protection for a second there. I thought you were in WITSEC because you were showing
Oh.
up, all, because you didn't show up.
No, I'm usually eating or working on something, so I don't bother going on camera.
Well, it was good to see your face. Now we put the name,
Oh, thanks. But yeah, it's
So
been
I want to.
been a little journey, but it's finally over.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
You can't see we're
Absolutely.
doing the finger thingy, the applause.
Oh yeah, I like my snaps. Yeah.
Oh, the snaps is even better. So
Oh, I
I'll
like
try
my
to do
snaps. I like my
the
snaps.
finger thingy
But
or
he's crushing
whatever.
it.
You like the
Oh,
snap Twitter?
Yeah,
Hey, you
absolutely.
see, that's what he's got. He's going to get all that cash
Yeah.
flow behind us, right?
Yeah. No, Jason's worked exceptionally hard on this deal. And it was kind of a unique situation where it was one of the first deals we started looking at together in Diamond. And we just he happened to bring it in. I'm like, this is actually kind of nice. I actually really like this. This isn't supposed to be this good. And a lot of things, extensions of inspection period we had to work through. Getting the right contractors out, ended up needing more work than we thought. Jason got maximum credits, price reduction, a lot of working stuff, especially with the sellers and a seller's attorney who are not great, who are
Giant pain in the ass. They're
giant pains in the ass.
Hey,
Yeah, they
Jason,
are.
where'd you buy your fourplex again? And what was the purchase price? And what do you think? What kind of a cap did you get it on? And where, what kind of a neighborhood was it? That kind of stuff.
It's in a C neighborhood. It was 388. It was originally 450, but like I said, it needs a new roof, a lot of tuck pointing, some electrical. It needs a good chunk of work. But it should work out pretty well. It needs about $92,000 in repairs.
Oh wow, what vintage?
It is
Oh,
from
it's Chicago. It's older. It's an older.
oh yeah,
building.
it's like 1910, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where in Chicago?
And so
It is in Park Manor.
Okay. I don't know where.
and so with Jason, right? He kept being at 388 acquisition, 92 in repairs, right? We're all in cost for 480, and the rent's going from 1,000 a door to of our target. Our target range is 1,800, right? So it means we're paying our all-in cost per door for purchase and renovation is right around $120,000 per door when it comes to purchase and renovation, and the rents are going to be at 1,800, which puts us right in that beautiful 1.5 rent rule to make this thing cash flow like crazy. So
You mean the 1% rule that he actually
I-
halved above.
I like
even went better.
I like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's absolutely correct. I like 1.5%, but put some cash flow on it. So that is one of the main reasons here. I think I want to give a lot of credit to Jason because he recognized and saw an opportunity where yes, this property does need a lot more work, but the value add from the income side is just so significant that it warrants doing that kind of investment. And so it's something where he saw that opportunity and he's willing to go for it after doing a lot of DD and getting a lot of bids on things. But it's one of those situations where it's not necessarily a little bit of rehab, a little bit of value add. It's a larger project, but we're doing it because it makes sense in a way to get that extra income out of it. And Jason, please tell me if I'm sharing too much, but
No, I have to give a lot of credit to you because I didn't want to do it. Because I already bought a different fourplex last year. It was pretty much turnkey. So I wanted to buy another one, but I can't find one. So luckily he's like, well, you could do this work. I'm like, I don't have anybody to do the work. And he helped me find people to do the work. So it should work out well. But yeah, I was a bit uncomfortable in doing something that had to have this much work done.
And where do you live, Jason?
I live in Chicago as well.
So you're close to it?
Yeah, I self-manage my other one. I'm probably going to start with at least self-managing this one, and then possibly go into having property managers.
Yeah. But once you're
And-
repaired, there's not gonna be any repairs for us, you're not gonna get any calls.
Shouldn't be.
No.
And the really cool thing about this, which is I love these kind of unique parts of this deal, is that this fourplex is all rented to members of the same family. They all live in the same family members all live in the different units. So the retention on these tenants, they would much rather stick around and live in the same building than all move out and go get different rentals. Because where else are they going to get a price that's the decent price for them plus living in the same building? So Jason has the opportunity to, hey, we're all going to stick together. We can work these price increases. He has this amazing leverage and opportunity to keep this deal going and keep the same tenants in place, which delays the need to do more interior repairs and focus on the exterior structurals and allows him to do organic rent bumps without having to do interior renos because of the built-in stability and leverage of having all the family in one building. It's like those little things that you look at like, oh, like if you had your parents and your kids and your nephews all in the same building, would you rather just pay $100 more in rent or move halfway across the city to somewhere else that you can afford? Right?
Okay.
You're gonna stick around, and it's one of those really really cool levers we get to pull here. So it'll be a project. We'll be managing it, but we checked many times about reserves and making sure the cash flow will be okay and that it would break even at its current levels, and it will. But it's a really cool opportunity. So again, just credit to Jason for taking these calculated risks and going through the process and dealing with a heck of a seller. So shout out to Jason.
And I bet these four people are gonna figure out, why didn't we buy the building ourselves?
Maybe.
I don't think they're in the situation to buy it, but or do the
okay.
repairs. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so they're actually all pretty young, except the one guy's really old. I don't think he's gonna live that much longer, to be honest with you, because he's got some health problems. But the other three they're relatively young. And when I did go there to do the inspection, the kids from the upstairs unit run down to the downstairs unit because they're all families, so they watch each
Sure.
other do stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I don't think they want to separate, which is good.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Because also think about this reality: childcare. Childcare is a massive expense in today's marketplace, and with the family right there, you have built-in childcare. I love this because it's like, how much more would you spend in childcare versus my rent increase?
A lot.
$2K a month?
And safe,
Yeah,
and safety.
Yeah, Paulina,
Safety.
with your young kid, I know. You know what's going on with childcare. Like, what's it going to be, 2K a month? 2.5K for all your kids? Or you can pay $200 a month more in rent? Yeah, we'll take that. So there's just so much upside potential with this one, and we'll be keeping a very close eye on it. Jason, we actually need to talk on our next session here about getting the contractors ready to go. I think we meet this week. You should just text me because we got to get moving on that.
Plus there's
yeah,
safety
so-
in that building with everybody knows each other.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, great deal. So we'll be moving and shaking there. But that's Jason. Sorry, not to steal your thunder on your introduction, but if anybody else wants to go ahead and share a little bit about who they are, their name, what they're looking for, what they're into, feel free to unmute yourself and take the stage. Or if there's a question about BrightInvestor, of course you can
I was
ask
gonna
me.
say, I'll go and I have a question about BrightInvestor. I'm Sam.
Let's go.
Pete, Florida. I am still looking at BrightInvestor, as you know, Donato. And so I came on here to see more about what it can do for me, right? And I am a property manager. Like I've got owners and they want to see like a 10-year projection on a property they already own. Does this system do that?
We have home price appreciation projections when it comes to the zip codes in their area. So we can do something like that. And I can kind of showcase what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see like all the, I get that I can for new properties and that's awesome, but I was also looking to see what else it can do.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, this is the hype. I got someone looking at BrightInvestor, so now I gotta show off now. I gotta do the whole
Are we gonna do the little drum roll? You have to have
You don't have
like a
to.
little, button when you push like the
Yeah.
easy button or something, have
Yeah.
like a little. So have
Yeah.
you seen that
So
one for?
what I
Have you seen where you doing that? Have you seen that one for dogs where the dog touches all the stuff like on?
mhm.
Those are
Yeah.
hilarious.
But Sam, remind me, you're in St. Pete,
Yeah,
right? St.
over
Paul?
by Tampa.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, okay. That's
A
right.
little,
Uh,
yeah. There's
yeah.
St.
I'm
down
actually
there.
gonna I'll actually be in St. Pete in about a month and a half,
Oh yeah.
actually, for the weekend. Yeah, I'm coming to present to a local realtor group in the
Nice.
area.
You know who?
Okay, so yes, I can get you the name, but off the top of my head, no.
Okay.
I can find out. Um, so one of the first things I do when it comes to showcasing, like, hey, what are we looking like over the next couple of years, is wherever their home is. So, for example, in this area, the median home price went from 189 to 318 over the course of about 7 years. And so that growth was about 63%, or about 7.5% year over year appreciation. So I would use this to speak to a new client. If they're an existing client, if they're trying to decide, should I sell or should I not, saying, hey, look, there's a huge run up in prices right up to about this point in time of, say, mid 2021. Then we skyrocketed during the COVID low interest rate era. But Mr. and Mrs. Client, we've had a little bit of price volatility since then. Home prices peaked around 370, fell right down to about 317 over the last couple months, about a year or so. So the market has softened a bit when it comes to the appreciation. But what's very, very important, and what I love being able to do, is showcase clients this. Evansville, Indiana. I love picking on this city, in part because I heard a real estate investor try to pump it, and it pissed me off because it's not a good market to pump. And I'll look at them and say, see, the market in Tampa is actually holding its price values relatively stably, as opposed to a market like Evansville, where we saw massive price corrections from a peak of 277 falling down to a 192 range that has slowly been coming back up. So we've seen a lot more stability in the price volatility than other areas that compare across the United States. So I would use this to have that conversation with them and record a little Loom video for them too. But then I would come over here and do the rent growth side and talk a little bit about like future rent projections and what we're expecting. So let's say I'm looking at this zip code again, and they have a 3.2 property. I'd say when it comes to rents are actually up about 8% over the last couple of years. We've had some low lows, approximately, say, our $2,200 range. We've had some high highs in the $2,800 range. But we've overall been able to keep relatively consistent gains, even with the volatility, as we go forward. So even with these highs and lows, the market for three bedrooms is still growing over about 8% over the last couple of years. So there's still upward trajectory.
Did you pick the years? Did you pick that range? Did I miss
For
that?
the home price appreciation, yeah, you can go from like 2015 to now. For the rent growth, we start basically in 2022. That's where our data goes back to,
Okay.
and that's the automatic long range for it.
Okay.
If
Thank
you
you.
want more specific,
So
yeah,
it
if you want more
doesn't.
specific,
It looks at the past, but not the future. Can you go to the future?
Yeah.
for the rents right now, for that one, no, but
Or
what we
no, for
can do is,
appreciation. For appreciation.
oh yeah, appreciation, we can go into the
Okay.
future. We do future projections that. Now, for like a rent comp report here, if we had like a 3 bedroom, 2 bath in this area that we were trying to pull a comp report for, okay, great, 2,500 or so. I click this download pro report button. And to be clear, what I'm showing you is the current rent report. We are releasing the brand new rent reports this weekend with the new release, which I will show you as well. So these are about to be upgraded and with the new version here. But when you have a property specific rental report you want to pull, we can pull this up, which will show us our rent trends again for the property month over month for going back a little bit further. This one's also 2022, showing us where we've been trending over time and what our moving average is. And then showing that as well with our comp list down here. So it's a pretty good mechanism to be able to kind of forward project what we're seeing in the marketplace in terms of our rents and what we're likely going to keep having. I mean, I just happen to pick up a Family Dollar as my rent comp location, so that's what today's is.
Okay.
So that's what I do there. And then with the Bright reports, right, with the Bright report component, that's where we'd have all the current analysis of the cash flows and things of that nature. And I would
Donato,
probably, yeah,
are you recording?
it should be. Am I not?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm recording. I'm recording. Yeah.
I see
Okay,
it.
I thought I saw you because I'm looking at it, didn't it's I thought it showed it, but now I'm not seeing it was recording. Okay,
It's on.
Yep.
got it. Cool.
Yep. This
All
is
right,
my
so,
recording.
sorry, so can you were going to say the Bright report?
Yeah. So the Bright report. So let's say we're looking for, in your case, you're looking for landlords that you can manage some properties with. So we'll say, show me all of the landlords in this zip code that own a property, that own it in their name, that are absentee, out-of-state owners, that also own at least 5 other properties and who own it for at least 10 years. So like a real good lead. I've got real tight. There's only 6 of those. I might loosen that up a little bit. Let's say 5 years. And let's say they have to own only 2 properties. I got 41. That's better. I
Okay.
got 41 in that zip code.
Mhm.
And now I'm clicking one of these and saying, okay, Mr. Client, is this your property? Okay, awesome. We have all the information here. This guy lives in Pennsylvania. He's owned it for 10 years. He bought it in cash. He has a portfolio. Here's the portfolio. He owns in Pennsylvania, 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 Florida, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania,
Wow.
Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania. A lot of Pennsylvania. This is
Okay.
just one in Florida. This is a great person to contact because they own all this crap in Pennsylvania in one property in Florida. Yeah, they definitely don't want to manage that themselves. They're too busy with this. Call this guy, take that over for him. So I'm like, okay, great. Mr. Client, looks like you bought it for about 52K a while back before you transferred over to your trust. My comps are telling me this thing could be worth, if I say just for exact number of beds, exact number of bathrooms, between 368 to 373. I'm looking at that's a lot of volatility, a lot of variation in my rents there. So we're going to filter these and say this
There's
is
a little
turn off.
variation in the
Under this
square
area.
footage too. Would you want to do
Yeah,
like within 300 feet?
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm doing is I'm filtering. I'm turning
Oh,
off
I
the
thought you
biggest
can
and
just
the
do it over to the
smallest.
right within, where it says within X amount of square feet.
Oh yeah. So I'm looking around 32 to 3,400 in that range. This is fine, and I'm probably going to turn off these smaller ones too. And
then
this one
go.
is
Okay, so when you're
yeah.
Xing those out, then it's recalculating without you having to do anything else.
Yeah, exactly. Yep,
Okay.
I just turn it off.
You don't have to.
So okay, great. In the market right now, home prices are down just a little bit over the last year. Days on market are going down right now. The properties are selling a lot faster right now. But new listings are down, price per square foot is down, and population's down. The properties are selling faster, but home prices are coming down. So a little bit harder for folks to get the prices they want from a sale perspective. But I come into this guy and say, hey, you bought this for 52K. Okay. And you bought this thing with cash. Okay, great. So 100% down payment. So we're going to go ahead, Mr. Landlord, and your insurance is how much? Probably like 6K a year, something stupid like that. Say, hey, Mr. Landlord, if we go ahead and just do this straight up and you already own it, we can probably get this thing put away for $1,800 a month in net cash flow to you. And then you, as a PM, decide how much you want them to hold back for repairs or vacancy or CapEx. Usually they wouldn't be from your calculations, but
I was looking for,
you
yeah. This is what
usually
I was
you
looking for. Thank you.
do you just say, yeah, here you go. We'll do, I don't know, 3 and 3 and 3. Mr. Landlord, I can take this thing over for you for about $1,500 a month net cash flow to you. Let me go ahead and send over what I'm looking at right now. And then you'd send this Bright report over to him and you turn off or turn on whatever it is that you want. So if you don't really want him to overwhelm him or her with all this property information, you can just turn this off. You can show them your rent comps, you can show them your analysis and say, here's what I'm seeing in today's marketplace. And then of course, with the branding and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
that's
Got
what
it.
I'm shooting at. Now the new rent reports, the new stuff, because the current rent reports are not brandable, but then you guys are seeing stuff you're not supposed to see. Okay, the new rent reports look like this as a reminder for folks on what they look like. So instead of like the whole breakdown, we built this custom
So
to
this is
allow.
house instead of rental meter.
Yeah, this is this is just rental. This is our own rental report now. This is our own combination of multiple services into one.
Uh-huh.
So now the rent report looks like this, and it looks a lot like the Bright report. And
Yep.
it's brandable, has this, and it combines rent analysis with, this is brand new, our square foot valuation. So we take all the average price per square foot, and then we do a per square foot rent cost, then the map, and then all the comps we can find in a huge list. And then we also include the rent growth and the rent distribution on this. So if you wanted to maximize one property, you send over the Bright report, you send over the rent report, and you're rock solid. You can do both or either one.
So show us that square foot thingy up at the top again. Is that per,
Yeah, I
per
was just
1,000
about
square
to
foot or
ask.
something? What is that
That's
for?
exactly what I was going to ask.
So square foot valuation, what this does is it takes the price per square foot for all the rental comps we have, which are this column over here. We take the average price per square foot for the entire comp set, and we
Multiply by the
automatically multiply that by the property square foot to tell you, hey, if you were to charge the average per square foot cost for this rental, here's where you'd be shooting. So if you go ahead and come down here and turn off specific comps that you like or don't like, that'll automatically adjust the per square foot valuation.
Could we do that really quickly? Because like some of the ones that I'm concerned about may potentially be skewing that the average price per square foot. Because again, if you go back up and take a look, the rent
Yeah.
that it's asking, the 2260 and then the 2847, that's like what, 2-3 standard deviations off. So that's why
And
I'm
so
just like,
yeah, and to be clear, this is the design. This is a user interface Figma design.
okay,
This isn't.
okay,
These are
got you.
not
That's
real
not
numbers.
actual. Okay, never mind.
No,
Okay.
no, this is not
Gotcha,
actual.
gotcha,
This
gotcha,
is
gotcha.
just
A
a
mock-up.
design we threw together. This is
Okay.
a mock-up that our developers used to code the thing.
Gotcha.
This is not real
Okay.
data.
Chester was
Okay.
throwing Chester was throwing a bell curve at us. He says
He was.
it's a little standard deviation off the right side there.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at it, like if you could add another, what is it, $450 to it, that's 2 more standard
Yeah.
deviations from the median, and it still wouldn't be what that square foot number was. That's why I was like, something looks
Yeah.
off.
You're
So
like
definitely
that
appreciate
curve
that.
wasn't right. Something's not right.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where we come.
Okay.
That's where we'd come down here and look at stuff like, hey, this property that was 220 a foot. Remember, on the rent reports, we link to Zillow. So you can click any of these addresses and go click and see if there are photos of the interior. So we do that so you can say, hey, is this property like way nicer than theirs? Click it. Oh yeah, I don't like that. Turn it off. Right? We're compiling all the places that people would go into this kind of one-click solution. And this is what's
the other
planned to go live
thing
this
that you
weekend.
may want to look at on that is maybe vintage too, right?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
That may or may
yes.
not tell you whether it's been rehab, but the vintage will kind of tell you it's newer versus older kind of thing.
Yes, it typically should. Yeah. So, Sam, does that answer some questions, or should I?
No,
Would you like to
no,
fill in?
that was the cash flow, whatever you called that one. Was that the Bright Investor report, I think? And
Yep.
then
Yep. The Bright report. Mhm.
rent report is actually nice too, all in one spot. So, okay.
Yeah. So that's why we created those. So now you have 2 types of reports you can pull out of Bright Investor, because we realize that not everyone needs all the property information. Sometimes I just need the rents. And that's it. So plus we wanted to have a version that looked like our stuff that incorporated more detail. So that's what's coming out this weekend. They will also be unlimited for Bright Investor users. So the same way the Bright reports are, you will also be able to pull as many Bright reports as you want as well. So that will just be included. You guys will get that for free included as well.
Which you guys know Rent-A-Meter doesn't do anymore, by the way.
What do you mean?
Really?
Yeah, they started charging, I think. So
Oh, there you go. Another reason to use Bright Investor. You pay for it all. Let's see here.
Yeah,
they give
and
you a
then,
few of them free, and then they start saying,
Yeah. Well, the other, I'll gauge this here. We had one user ask about this for a while back, but I'll mention it again. We are planning. I'm not saying it's a short-term thing, but it is the plan. I want to get a feel for how many people would actually use this to include Section 8 rents in Bright Investor. So basically, what we have is the ability to pull the HUD's Section 8 fair market rents for like every property type and every zip code in the country.
Would be cool.
And my plan is to add a little button here in rent, where it'll say latest data, rent growth, or Section 8. And if you click Section 8, you can click a button and say, show me Section 8 rents for this zip code for a 2-bedroom and see what Section 8 rents are in that area.
That would be very
So if
That'd
you
be fantastic.
Yeah.
like that, that's a thumbs
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Because I was like, enough people were saying, Donato, I don't want to go to the 50 different cities, HUD website to pull rents. I'm like, that makes sense. And it'd be nice to be able to compare what's market rate versus Section 8 in one place. It would look exactly like this. You would just click Section 8, single, and then 2-bedroom, 1-bath, search. And then my goal would make it would look like the rent growth over time. So you can see how Section 8 is changing the numbers every year is my goal. It's like, oh wow, this area Section 8 is continuing to go up and this area is going down. So I'd like to do that. So it sounds like everyone here is saying a resounding yes.
Where would you pull that data from for each market?
That is proprietary. And
Oh, no, because I'm looking, because I'm
Well, I
looking
think
at.
that was going to be my comment because, and I'm sorry, and I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay.
We heavily rely on Section 8 for our rentals, and it's been amazing. Especially the appreciation in California just makes more sense because they completely pay over market value and what you would get from a typical renter, right? But here's the thing, right? Depending on the only way I'm bringing this to your attention is that some Section 8 criterias are different for different people on how they qualify for. So just because a city says or a county says that they're going to pay 2,100, right? The voucher for that family may not be able to receive that 2,100 voucher because of whatever criteria there it is. It would be nice to give a range, not specifically a number, because depending on where you're pulling that information from, there may be a better range to say like, hey, for a 3-bedroom in this specific city or county or whatever, you can look for potential 18 to 2,100, right? That would be a good indication of what Section 8 would be willing to pay. And every market is completely different. So I don't know if you're
I
aware of
wonder,
that.
you just had a Anchorage. I wonder what Anchorage is. Because I have my
Yeah,
place.
so this is interesting. So we would do some, I don't know if this is where we're getting it. It's probably something like this. I'll talk to the team about it. But the goal would be to be, yeah, so basically having this on the map and then over time. So I want the key thing I want here is the time component. So I don't want you guys having to go to Alabama, Altuga County, and then doing that whole thing over and over again. So I don't want
Right.
that.
Also, these prices are with you paying everything, electric, gas, oil. They deduct it when when the landlord doesn't pay, they make the tenant pay.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that we want to do here. We have some more specific data than this we're going to play around with. My goal is to get this into BI as our next, like you guys know, I've been pretty kind of hard on adding back new data types for people on just putting out, I don't want to put too much in here, but I feel like that one is I've just gotten too much to say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to do. So yeah, that's the goal. So we'll be throwing that on there. And adding that to the list of things that we want to work on as a feature type. I can't show you guys all my secret sauce here for what I'm building too. But there's some other things that I've got circling around my brain that I kind of want to add to the system. Let's see here. Anything? No, I'm not going to add that yet. We got all these good
You in
ideas.
California or Florida?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're originally from California. My wife and I, we have 5 rental properties. 4 of them are all through Section 8, and like I said, it's
In
been
California.
amazing. Yes, sir.
Long Island's expensive too. They pay good.
Yeah. So from what I heard, California and Massachusetts are really good in providing over market value for Section 8 rents. And then again, that's just something I learned recently, but we've just with California, and then again, so a little bit about for us, not only does Section 8 pay over market value, they also give you an incentive of the upfront cash deposits, security deposits, and then they give you whatever your security deposit is in a bonus for being a landlord and providing affordable housing. So it's kind of like a three check all in one based off of what you're getting. So it's a really good vehicle that we've used. Again,
And
unfortunately, go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I was going to say that you make a good point in the sense that I have been talking to some St. Louis investors who noted that fair market rent went down this year for
Hmm.
the first time in a while. And they're like, wait a second, I thought Section 8's always went up. And they're saying, wait a second, city is starting to pull back a little bit because of, for whatever reason. And
Yep.
so that's why part of the reason I'm more interested in getting this data in for people like Orlando who are like, hey, California, Massachusetts, wow, they keep going up every year. Look at this great trend. And if someone's like, wait a second, this market Section 8s have actually been falling for like 5 years. Maybe I'm not going to rely as heavily on that strategy, or I need to account for the fact that it's not going to go up every year. Um,
Yeah, because
especially in the markets where the Section 8 is so much higher than your fair market value. Like the
yeah,
same reason I never tell people don't buy a property that only cash flows in as an Airbnb. I mean, I personally against it. I'm not a fan. I don't like the downside risk, right? Because it only works one way. And if you buy a property where it's like, wow, this thing only makes money on Section 8, then you better know if the Section 8 rents are going to keep going up or if they're trending down, especially if they're so much higher than fair market value, where you find out, hey, if I have to lease this at regular market rate, I'm actually going to be like breaking even or losing money. And Section 8 is the only thing that makes sense. We need to factor that into our decision of whether we're going to take that property down because that is an additional risk profile for the asset itself.
yeah, but the feds may be cutting a little bit of too. If the feds cut, then the state's going to cut.
Yeah. So it's,
Well, that was the biggest fear when Trump took office and they were saying that they were going to cut HUD. But
yeah.
just last week, we were on pins and needles because, again, that's our bread and butter. They just going to dump a lot more money into getting other markets up to that standard. So like what you were saying with St. Louis, why is St. Louis deflating what a potential fair market values are making more competitive so we can get more affordable housing in there? That's a good thing, I guess, for us as Section 8 landlords, right? But yeah, again, you're right. If the market decides to say, you know what, we're going to pull back this asset class, this vehicle for owners, right? There's a lot of people who, like ourselves, that rely on this rental income through Section 8 to keep it making sense for us to be property owners, right? And again, who knows what's going to happen, dude?
No, the bottom line is don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Oh, for sure, absolutely.
And don't put your property in one strategy, right? I tell people all the time, if you're going to do something, if you're going to do a BRRRR, make sure the property, if rented out as a long-term rental, would at least break even, right? If you're going to do a flip, make sure that you could potentially do a refi and then rent it out long-term if you had to, right? If you're going to do a midterm rental, make sure it at least break even as a long-term rental. If you're going to do a short-term rental, make sure that ideally makes cash with a midterm rental at least and would break even as an LTR, right? And some people ignore me, that's fine. But the downside protection doesn't matter until it matters, right? And that's what I always stick around to. At some point, something's gonna change, whether it's your fault or not. And all of a sudden you're gonna really wish you had that insurance policy of this thing will still make me money. I spoke to way too many investors in California in 2023 in BI with first launching that were, Donato, I have this 4,000 square foot cabin in the mountains of California and I can't rent it as an Airbnb anymore. I'm going to lose $4,000 a month on this thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, Donato, I'm trying to sell this thing as fast as possible, go dump the money into other markets. That's why I'm using BrightInvestor. I say, okay, well, let's work together. Let's talk about where it makes sense to sell. Like, what's the market doing right now? Where we're going. So it's very much it can cause a panic sell. And that's a great way to lose a bunch of equity that you didn't have to lose if you had the ability to weather those kinds of storms. It's also why I'll point out a lot of Airbnbs in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida are currently going on the market. She's a friend of mine, so I don't want to rag on her, but she specializes in selling short-term rentals, and a lot of them are coming to market, and they're saying, "Wow, this property made 300 grand last year as an Airbnb, turnkey investment, ready to go. If it was making that much money, why are they
Why are
selling
you
it?
selling it? Exactly.
Why are they freaking selling it?" And the
Yep.
reason they're selling it is because either the insurance got too high, bookings are down this year, the taxes got too bad, or the regulations are making it impossible. But if my property is generating 300 grand a year in top line revenue, and I'm taking maybe a 30 to 40% margin on that, you're gonna pry that property with my cold dead fingers. Absolutely. I'm not selling that bad boy. So if you're gonna go buy a nice turnkey short-term rental, please be very cautious and investigate why, because it's gonna be taxes, insurance, booking rate, / occupancy, or regulations. One of those things just went down the crapper, and that's why they're selling that building. That doesn't mean it can't be a good deal, but it's probably not going to be worth what they're asking for. So just word of caution to everybody here.
I had heard in Orlando that they were going to not allow Airbnb, and the guy went down there, and the issue was they were losing tax money from the hotels, so they added a tax onto it.
It happened in St. Louis. Remember the
Yeah.
9-unit building I've been working on? St. Louis is charging fees, and they're charging residential buildings as commercial buildings at their Airbnbs. Increase the tax rate. So they're trying to collect more taxes on these Airbnbs, which is taking people out of the market for owning them. So it is a risk. And personally, I don't like to invest in things that the local, state, and federal government are actively making a case against. Like, hey, we actively don't want you doing this. Or more importantly, it's popular to crap on landlords and investors and managers who are doing this right now. So we will get political points for making it harder for you as an Airbnb owner. So like I said before, with market research, I like to be in areas where I can ride the rising tides and not fight against the bad demographics. I don't really have a lot of interest in fighting or investing in a strategy that is actively fighting against me for my profitability. And that's why you can see so many properties for sale right now. It's because a lot of people made the exact same calculus that I just did. And see.
Yeah, and also again to piggyback off what Richard was saying, that I'm in Orlando myself, specifically Davenport.
Oh, nice.
The oversaturation of short-term rentals is crazy. We have one ourselves, and we're constantly having to compete just to get bookings. And again, we self-manage, but imagine having to do that on a grander scale. It just makes it a lot more difficult. And when there's so much oversaturation, like again, the HOAs are getting involved, the hotels are changing their strategy as well too, because Central Florida has so many theme parks and amusement and entertainment. Like, it's not going to go away. It really is driving the economy to have these short-term readily available, because it's just too expensive to do it at a resort or a hotel. It's crazy. And especially if you have a family of 4 or 5, forget about it, man. It makes more sense. So
yeah, you can't even go out to eat, right?
Well, we have a family of 4, and we're $200 easily, right? And again, that's just with the tip and everything, and really just a decent dinner, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's got to make sense. So I don't see it going away.
Well, there's a lot of
But it's going to
properties
be
for sale down
it's
there
going to
by
be
you in Davenport, aren't there?
Say that again.
A lot of townhouses, a lot of houses for sale now.
Oh yeah, the builders are going crazy with multifamily. So right now, where I live in Davenport, 2 main arteries, Ronald Reagan and 27. Like, we're talking about 100, 200 unit complexes going up, and they're still building it. And Holt, the developer, just approved 600 acres of townhomes and single family residents. Man,
yeah,
that'd be crazy.
Overbuilding.
And no infrastructure. That's another thing too that we're dealing with. In Central Florida, you have all this development, but no infrastructure.
Yeah, and I see the builders now giving you $40,000-$50,000 breaks in price.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look at all that development. You can see it.
See that? I did this like 5 times already, but look at that. Development, 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 right? Development. Like,
And it's not bad.
all right,
You don't have to do anything.
look at these. Like, that's an already done development, and already done development, and
Is
already
that
done.
all empty land, or they knock stuff down?
This is all.
there's-
This is things they cleared. It's like you can see right here, right? This
yeah.
was empty land,
Oh yeah,
and
there's.
boom, development, right? Development. Like,
Oh,
we just pop on satellite view and start walking around these places. You're like, oh my gosh, development right there, right? So
Traffic's
this is
gonna
what
be
we're
amazing.
talking about, right? Orlando, right around here.
Yep.
Who's
Development,
moving
development.
there?
Look at all this
Who's
land.
moving there?
Oh, Orlando lives there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
I know, but who, like, for all the development, is it, I mean, what's,
Oh, you're getting a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people from all over. When we moved in 2022, it was like right after COVID. So that was the mass exodus of California and from New York,
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. A lot of people just moving down to Central Florida. But from what the residents who have been here for years, they're saying it's gotten crazy worse and with the infrastructure not being supported.
Do you see that? Do you see that?
Yeah.
39% population growth in 6 years. I tell you guys to look at 1% per year. That'd be 6%. This is 40%. That's a lot of growth. But to be clear, that's 35,000 to 50,000 people. That is a lot of development
What are
for
the jobs
14,000.
for them? Where are they working, those people?
A great question. Let's go ahead and
Some could be
find out.
retired, some
What-
could be
what it-
retired.
Or is it like snowbirds, or is it like full-time people, families and whatnot?
Well, we can find out. Let's go ahead and go.
That's far from
Where's
the ocean too.
And where's, did I just miss it? Where'd Davenport go?
Here,
Did
type
I-
in 33896.
There we go. Thank you, sir. Okay.
You're welcome.
So, right, we're looking at this, right? Okay, great.
Can't be big.
Median home prices are great to look at here
Yeah.
because retirees are going to have complete, and middle income and lower income folks are going to have completely different home prices here. So we're going to get an idea. A lot of home price growth, and what do they cost? Yeah, about $450,000 to $500,000. So this is telling me when the national median home price is right over 405, 410 right now in this area, this is only just a little bit over the median. So this is relatively median priced homes for the US, for the area. These are families, right? These are people who are moving here. And the home prices have been relatively stable. They've peaked around 500 and they've been slowly coming down for almost 2 years. Slowly coming down for 2 years straight.
What
Now,
about can you tell the inventory on this?
we used to have new listings. We don't have them anymore, but we can look at. So we had new listings that we could track every month.
Yeah, go to days on market. Go to days on
Yeah.
market.
Let's see how homes have been selling recently in this area. Let's see here what we got. If home prices are slowly going down, I'd expect days on market to slowly go up. Yeah. So what happened? So COVID, we went from 100 days on market to 30, and then right back up. And now, as of last month, 94 days on market. That's huge. Huge. Very, very long time to get a property sold on listing side. That's crazy. We're going under contract. 94 days. So no wonder.
You have, again, I'm an agent out here, not that it matters, but the conversations that I'm having, Orlando, I could buy a new home, brand new home, new construction with everything that I want with the same price. Why would I buy another home that's just been kind of fixed up? I'm like, you're right. But
A great question.
what it's just the conversation that we're having with buyers, man. And
What
This
do
is
they go
crazy.
for? What do they go for? The new ones?
yeah, but even then you still gotta wait till it's developed.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll
Look at
give
this,
you a
look at that.
perfect example. I talking to a client, they're New York investors and they want to buy out here. And they're like, I'd rather just wait until this thing gets built. Well, they're entering this program 450. By the time it's done, with all the upsells that the developer's doing, they're probably going to spend 525, 570, right? Because of all the upgrades. It could have been in a house already, the same square footage, completely refixed up a lot sooner. But no, they wanted to wait for a new construction. So, and then you have to tap into the HOAs, the CDD fees. It's a lot of development going on, and that's
Now,
what's driving
Orlando,
these.
Have
Yeah.
you ever given them the cost of waiting?
Oh yeah,
I have a great, cost of waiting analysis that.
yeah. Share it. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And,
so are they
send
going
me
into
something, I'll send it
contract
to
on
you.
these? Oh, sorry. Right. Are they going into contract on these and waiting until they're built to move down?
So if they go into contract, they got to put in then a deposit. So they may
Sure.
lose it if they.
See, that's what I did when I bought my townhouse down in Naples. We went into contract. What the hell is it? in 2021, we didn't close, April of 2021, we didn't close until December of 2022.
Wow.
So they had my money but the price was going up, you know?
Yeah.
And one thing I'd point out here, right, is you guys know I recommend 30 to 40% rent to own ratio. And 12 years ago it was 43%. This year is 35, so it's great. But look at the number of owner occupied households from 3,000 to 10,500. Huge increase. This blue line is the number of owner occupied households. This huge increase in the number of amount of inventory here is shocking. Like, look at the number of housing units that went up here. We had 5,000 total, right? Now we're at over 17,000.
Yeah.
Right? Massive increase in what people are doing here, which is just crazy, crazy to see. It's crazy.
Hey,
Well, guys,
speaking of that, Donato,
yeah.
how far are we behind on the because I mean, if we start building now and we even didn't stop, we're still so far behind for the houses that are needed, you know, because I know that numbers
Yeah.
come down. I forget how many, it was 11 million houses behind or something like that. Do you have that number somewhere?
Yeah, it oscillates depending on the number that I've routinely heard is between like 8 and 10 million in households.
Yeah, I
But
remember
here's
it's
the
11. I know it's coming down, you know,
yeah,
but
but
still
here's the
doing a
thing
little bit.
I'll share with you, right? There has been so much development around these major population centers, right? Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, right? That Orlando, that I've seen a lot of people move there. And a lot of developments come in. And so people talk about this number, this $8 to $10 million number, 8 to 10 million property number that we're behind as a country, right? They don't talk about is where. There is so much opportunity, right? It's not cool, or you're not early to developing in Orlando. The trick is, where can we find the population growth that's hitting that 20, 30, 40% range that's not in the news in the Midwest? Again, I always harp on the Midwest. That where are those spots that are already growing that quickly that we can get into to start buying and developing now to capture it? Because at some point, these areas will be developed. There's only so much Everglades you can get rid of before you got to go somewhere else. And it's eventually the pricing prices people out to the point where they're like, hey, wow, everyone told me the Midwest sucked because the winters were terrible, but it really wasn't that bad this year. They can buy a new house for $275, done. When that goes mainstream, right? You need these houses, but we've already seen a lot of inventory in these hot spots already. So what we want to do is be looking for those areas where are already growing that we can get into and provide that housing supply while it's still relatively early. I guarantee you that's the Midwest. The reason you don't hear many people talking about it is because the people who know are out there buying in secret right now, trying to get things done and buy up property and get developments going. They don't want people knowing about it yet until it's time to sell. So I'll leave it off there. Let's see you guys tomorrow night's coffee closer webinar. Thank you guys so much for being here. We will be doing the new release in the next 2 days or 3 days. Please watch out for that. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, donato@brightinvestor.com. Jason, please send me the email so that we can get you on the calendar to talk closing and getting contractors set up. Please and thank you, sir. And without further ado, if anyone's going to be in St. Louis for the RubeCon this weekend, it's Real Estate Wealth Builders conference. I will be there this weekend, meeting other investors and organizers. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, Orlando, take down my number, just text me and I'll send that stuff to you. So you got my phone number there? And if you guys didn't figure out, I'm actually a real estate broker as well and mortgage person. I've been doing mortgages for almost 30 years. And shit, I think I got like 28 or something loans I'm doing this month. Man, I'm actually processing them too, because the processor I had just sucked. I mean, I'd rather shoot myself than try to use a processor. I got to find somebody good right now.
And you're
Okay.
exclusively in Cali?
No, I do loans. I'm like in 13 states, something like that, but I can do loans anywhere basically, other than the company I'm with is the largest ever mortgage brokerage in the United States ever. And the next closest, we're double their size. So the company I'm with is Nexa Mortgage. My website is Top USA Home Loans. So my company's underneath theirs and stuff. So we have like 275 different lenders. It's not trying to be an ad or anything. Sorry, but you know, so yeah, I mean, we can do everything under the sun. I do new construction, ground up construction, fix and everything. DCR, DSCR, you know, everything under the sun you can imagine. I do it.
Okay, nice.
All right, guys.
Definitely
All right, gentlemen.
good stuff.
Yeah,
Lady.
we'll take down contact information. We'll be here again on Saturday. And thank you all for being here. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
No,
Have a
no,
good night,
thank you,
everybody.
Thanks,
man.
everybody.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Bob.
thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.
Bye.